The FCC reaches decisions in some contested MX groups from the 2021 NCE window. 10 down, 10 to go. That and more coming up.
REC, FCC Today, BG Bradley.
This is FCC Today, the podcast for Monday, June 5, 2023. The FCC has issued a Memorandum Opinion and Order in the 2021 filing window for new non-commercial FM stations. The order changed the outcome of 10 groups of mutually exclusive applications based on petitions to deny and informal objections to the FCC's previous declarations of tentative selectees in these groups. The groups impacted today are located in Florida, Iowa, Kentucky, Rhode Island, North Dakota, New Mexico, Texas, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The groups included new point analyses produced as a result of subsequent application activity in those groups since the declaration of the tentative selectee was made, as well as challenges to an applicant's claim of established local presence, as well as one change based on the number of authorizations an applicant has in respect to the first tiebreaker criteria. 9 of the 10 applicants were first-time tentative selectees, and therefore a 30-day petition to deny period has been opened for those applicants. In Paintsville, Kentucky, MX Group 104, the FCC had already declared both applicants as tentative selectees in a timeshare arrangement. However, based on today's order, the application for Paintsville Church of Christ was declared as not having established local presence, thus resulting in the grant for competing applicant, Johnson County Board of Education. The FCC still has 10 MX groups to work in this window, including Groups 34 and 208 in California and Utah, respectively, over concerns regarding tentative selectee Remanente Broadcasting Network, which is suspected of having shadow ownership of multiple LPFMs in California. LPFM shadow ownership is also a concern in Indiana MX Group 95, which is centered around tentative selectee World Federation of Pastors and Ministries in the Full Gospel. Group 51 in Florida, with concerns over the number of authorizations that Telamerica currently has, which could have an impact on the tiebreaker. Group 55 in Florida, which questions the connections between applicant Key West Radio and former LPFM licensee 305 Community Radio, who was determined to have character issues. Group 74 in Iowa, with questions over the qualification of Vanguard Association of Sunbelt Colleges on issues over financial qualifications and site assurance, as well as a claim made against Vanguard in Wisconsin Group 223 that an applicant cannot amend their application to reduce their population numbers and still retain their fair distribution status, which is not correct. An objection in New Mexico Group 152 claiming that Gallup Public Radio's application was not signed by a board member, and Texas MX Group 201, which questions whether Centro Cristiano Vida Eterna San Antonio has received site assurance and questions over the applicant's alleged connections to the Caesar Guel family. In today's order, the FCC determined that Vida Eterna understated the number of authorizations they hold by excluding non-fill-in translators held by one member with an attributable interest. This resulted in a change of tentative selectee in MX Group 196. Also pending is REC's challenge to how the third tiebreaker is handled. The 3 tiebreakers in non-commercial FM windows are first, those with the lowest number of authorizations, then those with the lowest number of pending applications, and then whether an applicant was unsuccessful in a previous filing window due to a point system decision. REC's challenge stems from applicants who filed multiple applications in a single previous window, and whether the claim can be made if the applicant had one or more of those applications granted in that previous window. This challenge is taking place in the Illinois-Wisconsin MX Group number 93. The movement in the NCE window determinations means that the FCC is getting closer to a time when their workload will be a little more clear. thus increasing the appetite within the audio division for a potential filing window for new low-power FM stations. While we cannot guarantee it, it may still be possible that we may see the first public notice for an LPFM window later this year, with the window being either very late this year or sometime next year. Prospective LPFM applicants can get information about the service as well as check for availability at lpfm.app. FCC Today, the podcast, has a comment line. Do you have an opinion about the topics discussed on the podcast, a question for me, or just general commentary about the FCC broadcasting or the telecommunications industry in general? Make your voice heard by calling 202-963-0852. Yes, that good old-fashioned thing called the telephone. 202-963-0852. Now write that down. 202-963-0852. It's easy to remember. That's 202, you know, the area code where all the bureaucrats are. Then up the right side of the dial, 963, and then up the center, 0852. 202-963-0852. You may hear your voice on a future podcast. We'd love to hear from you. On Tuesday, June 6th, the House Energy and Commerce Subcommittee will hold a hearing titled, Listen Here, Why Americans Value AM Radio. The hearing will be held at 10 a.m. Eastern Time in the Rayburn Building. It will be live streamed at energycommerce.house.gov. The FCC has removed the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands from the current activation of the Disaster Information Reporting System, as nearly all services on the island of Rota have been restored. DIRS remains activated for Guam, which shows at their last report to have 48% of cell sites down, just under 4,000 cable and wireline customers out of service, which is a slight reduction, as well as 3 TV and 3 FM radio stations currently off the air. Stations needing assistance can contact REC at 202-621-2355.
FCC Today.
FCC Today, the podcast, has been a production of REC Networks, always on at recnet.com. The podcast is available through Podbean, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, and on the Michelle Bradley YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell to be informed of new episodes. Keep up to the minute with events around the Media Bureau at FCC.today. If you need assistance with an FM broadcast facility, LPFM, full service, or translator, call 202-621-2355. I'm Michelle Bradley, KU3N, SBE Certified Broadcast Technologist. Thank you for listening.
REC.